So I'm going to say that again. The very nature and structure of the business being network marketing. Forget what you might have in your mind or have heard or what has been in the past about network marketing. It's not the same thing today. And we'll understand that as time go by. But the very nature of the business and the very structure of the business is designed in such a way that everyone can succeed. This is not the type of business where some will make it and some won't. It actually is designed by nature for everyone to succeed. That is not the statistics, and that is not the reality that people see in network marketing. And that's not because of the structure or how it's built, the nature of it. It is because of the rudiments of how we go about doing it. And historically and traditionally, it is like Super Patch introducing a new paradigm of wellness that is distinctly different to the old paradigm, but it's easy to be in this new paradigm with an old paradigm mindset. That's the same way we have to look at our network marketing business. It requires a different perspective and a different mindset so that we will build it in a better way than how it has been built in the past based on traditional models, traditional approaches. Why that's necessary? Because as I've shared in previous sessions, the statistics play out, and those statistics are very real today. And you can go and look them up. There are a couple of different organizations in the direct selling space that offer statistics on how this industry performs. And the governing institution for that here in the United States is the Federal Trade Commission, to which legally network marketing companies are legally bound to provide information and data to the FTC to how their institutions are performing. And so statistics that come from those institutions, they show that the majority of people who join network marketing companies, and I'm talking about bona fide network marketing companies, not these fly-by-night companies that use the networking model, but they don't have integrity and proper structure because of the very motives of why they're even in the space, that eventually collapse. I'm not talking about those companies that have come and gone, and there are many that are around today still. So that's why choosing a network marketing company, how you choose it, is very important. And it cannot be just based on, oh, this product looks good, oh, this product is unique, oh, this product is different. It cannot be based on that alone. Because a company could have a good product, but it might not have good ethics and integrity. And something that Harold always says, which I agree that one of the reasons why he got on board was because he looked at the ethos of the company that started with the CEO and why he started the company. He didn't develop a product and decided to market it to make money. The product came out of a process of looking for a solution for his own family, for his mother, and it developed into what it is. So the company, it's young, and so there's no long track record to look back at it to say, oh, this has a long track record of stability and so on. It's new, but we're going to see that that's to our advantage as well, that it being new, the timing of it is good. And so I have satisfied myself because I did not just look at the product. I looked at the product. I looked as much as I could into the company. And when I went to the first convention that they had in Orlando in was it January or February? And I got as close as I can to the people around me and examined looking at the leadership. I've read data in and out on the internet about the company. And so I've satisfied myself that we are with a good company that has longevity, just for if for no other reason, the nature and the quality of the technology that they're bringing to the world. So, but everyone needs to satisfy themselves. But we are in a company that's offering a technology to the world that is creating a new space. And in this business, based on the statistics, the majority will not make money and will eventually quit, according to the statistics. The retention rate is low. People fall out, according to these statistics. In the first year, 50% of people who join will be gone. In 5 years, 80% who join will be gone. People don't stay the course. That is traditionally. And that's not because we cannot make it and because only a few make it, as many people like to say. That's not the case. The very nature and structure of the business is designed that everyone can indeed make it. And so it's going to require a perspective, an understanding of the nature of the business, of the rudiments and principles of the business, of the technology, of our place in it, what it means for us. We have to build it up from the foundation up. And this evening session is about laying that framework, that foundation, and that platform that at the end of this evening, you're going to tell me whether you want to proceed. My thinking is that we will have 2 sessions of this type of training and development and process a month. You tell me how that fits with you when we get to the end. But this is something that is necessary. For me, personally, this is not a hobby. This is an investment into a business that we all have to take seriously if we are in it to really build financial security, which is one of our end goals. If you're in it for that, to position yourself in a more secure financial position in the future, we must take it seriously like a business. For those who may not have owned a business before and may not have that perspective of what owning and running a business is like, you have to take it as though it's a job, as important a job as the job that you may get up to and go to today that you depend on for your livelihood. You have to take it as serious as that. Because if the mindset about it is like it's just a hobby, a little side hustle that I'm looking to make, you're going to be among the many that will not make it. I'm going to be upfront and tell you like it is. Those that struggle and eventually fall out are the ones that don't take it seriously enough. And then added to that, we are missing a lot of the pieces to have the correct mindset and perspective to help us to follow through. And so we're going to deal with some of that this evening and lay those platforms, foundations, and framework that we could build constructively and effectively on moving forward from here. And so I'm going to start by sharing a video which is available on YouTube. The quality is decent enough, but the content, it's 6 minutes. It's a 6-minute video. And I want us to listen to that and listen carefully to what is being said. It is a video that is between Eric Worre, who is considered the guru of the trainers of trainers in network marketing. He's going through an interview with a man who is considered the world's foremost trainer, motivational life coach, Anthony Robbins, which I'm sure many, if not most of us, will know. It's an excerpt of 6 minutes of an interview that they have the full interview. You can get it on YouTube, but this is just 6 minutes of it. And I want us to just listen to it because it also helps with this platform and foundation that we are laying to build on. So I'm going to share my screen now and let's get into that. I am not muting anyone's mics, so I'm just going to ask you to please keep your mics muted while we're going through. And then when we get into, I'm going to be, while we're going through, I'm going to be calling on you for participation, and we'll all work through this together. Okay.
So you mentioned network marketing several times in your answer there. I know you know a lot about it.
Sure.
And a lot of people in network marketing, I think, have a little bit of an inferiority complex because of the mistakes other people have made in the past, a little bit of the branding stuff. My opinion is, if you have an entrepreneurial bone in your body, for the average person, this is better as a way to flex your entrepreneurial muscle than the other forms of entrepreneurship available to the average person.
It's absolutely true. First of all, the reason I brought it up is because I just want people to know I've dealt with the same thing, like motivation. It's not even what I do. Like all these idiots that have happened before me who've got up there and really not added value with just some pump up. So that's what people assume they're going to get. And very similarly in network marketing, you have that as well. But let's just be real. I mean, the bottom line is if you've joined the right organization and they've got a track record, and that track record is showing that they have real customers, that they aren't just some pyramid scheme, you can knock that, out of the park in 2 seconds flat if you understand what people's concerns and fears are. But as far as what's important, I'm coming here in a week. I'm doing my 5-day business mastery program. I have, 2,000 entrepreneurs from around the world. And I spend probably a good portion of that week or 5 days convincing people not to go into business because it is so complex to be able to do everything in business. And when you're in network marketing, you get to do what you do best, right? You can do something that's so simple. You can find a product or service that you love, that you know has total integrity, an organization that's great. You can align with that, and you don't have to worry about supply chain, and you don't have to worry about accounting, and you don't have to worry about all the elements that really make a business go. People, when they start a business, there's a reason why the first year 50% of them are gone, in 5 years 80% are gone, in 10 years 96% of all businesses fail. 4% make it, and make it doesn't mean they're profitable. It just means they're still standing. And after 10 years, it's all over. You've made it, right? No. I mean, you look around and you see Lehman Brothers, have been around a century and did $1 trillion in business over that century, and they're gone like that. So it's so complex, and people don't know that when they start businesses. This is why so many fail, because they go, oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm the greatest salesman. I'm making this company go. And they don't understand there's all these other moving parts. Or I'm the greatest software engineer. I can write code better than anybody. And they may be true. But the business is more complex than that. So network marketing allows anyone who just has a love for a product or service and has people they want to share that with, even if they don't know them, to allow them to expand. The other thing it really does, because everything else is being done for you, you're able to concentrate your power on what matters most. And if you look at any business, I tell everybody, Peter Drucker used to say, business is two things. It's innovation and it's marketing. Well, that's really the job of a person network marketing. You're marketing, you're selling, you're connecting, you're sharing, you're making that impact. And the innovation side, you want to innovate and develop yourself. You want to get better and better as your skill as a leader, as your skill to influence, your skill to coach people, manage people. So that's enough by itself without having to think about the 8 million other aspects that go into business. And I literally tell people that come to seminar, a bunch of you have spent $10,000 to be here. And I'm stressed reading your forums because you're telling me the reason I got in business is so I can have more free time. That's like saying I want to have a child so I can have more free time. My job is to get you out of business or get you with a partner because it's so much more complex. And well, network marketing, you have this incredible partner in the institution that you're a part of, and you're able to focus on your primary skills.
Yeah, well, why do you think So I think a tipping point has happened.
Yes,
We talked about it before inside the network marketing profession, that it's becoming more of a profession. There's higher level people getting involved. It's not just all broke people with no place else to go that are getting involved. Why do you think that's happened recently?
Well, there's disruption. I mean, you've seen what's happened over the last 5 years in terms of the economy, and more is coming primarily because of technology. I'm an investor in a lot of firms. I have 33 companies now, to give you an idea, and about a third of them are all in the technology business and the stem cell business, and and understanding human genome, all the different parts of it. Nanotechnology I'm involved with, virtual reality. I have some of the best companies in those areas. And what I can tell you right now is there was a research project that came out the other day that showed that since 1960, 59% of those jobs that were around 1960 don't even exist anymore, right? Telephone operators, all these different things, right? When's the last time you called your secretary and said, take a note? You just don't do that. You tell Siri and she prints it out instantaneously for you, So what's happening now, according to Oxford, is they're saying the next 10 years, 49%, that fast. It'll be much faster. 60 years to 2017, 1960, 2017, 50 years, a little more than 50 years. That experience you could deal with. This is going to happen in 5 or 10 years, or half the jobs are going. And they're going from AIs, artificial intelligence that can do things. It's not just blue-collar workers, and it's the robots and the blue-collar workers as well. So I'll give you an example. Right now, if you're an Uber driver, right, or you're a taxi driver, you're a truck driver, we all know what's coming. It's not hard to figure out. Elon Musk right now is working to pass a law where I live in Palm Beach in Florida. If it passes, my wife's Tesla will drive itself next year. It's just a simple download and it'll do it right now, not 5, 10 years in the future, because he's gathering all that information, because all those cars are bringing in more data that are making these things operate more rapidly. Well, who in, let's say, 5 years, worst case 10 years, but most people say less than 5, who's going to hire a truck driver who can only work 8 hours a day legally because he's got to sleep and everything else, whose insurance is expensive, who might be a pain in the ass, when I can have a 24-hour-a-day truck that'll drive and I get to depreciate it? I mean, it's not going to happen. So there's 5 million people in that category. There's 4 million people in the farming industry. The technology we currently have will wipe out immediately. If you just took 2 of those industries, that's 9 million people. 7 million people lost their jobs during the Great Recession when we looked like the world was ending. That's 2 industries. So they're all going to have to find a place to be able to function, and it's really going to start their own businesses, because there aren't that many other jobs that are out there. There's high-tech jobs, there's certain technology, but there's always a need, because everything on earth that you see, this room, my buddy Steve Wynn, that painting, this carpet, this building, everything you see, these cameras were all sold. The entire economy is driven by somebody who can sell. And selling is really just sharing when it's a network marketing experience, because you're trying to give someone an experience of something that can change their life. And so when I look at that, I say, you'd be crazy not to do it. And also, you're going to see more and more high-level people come as the disruption comes. I think the next 5 years will be a huge boon for many industries, but the network marketing industry will certainly be one of them.
So what we can look forward to, and we are in that time right now, where things are shifting and things are changing. People are looking more and more in the technology space. People are looking more and more for remote work, at-home work, businesses that they can own, because you're either going to be a consumer or an owner. And we all know we're in a time where Social Security and NIS and these other government subsidy programs are not going to be able to support us in our retirement. Inflation is not going to slow down anytime soon. And so people are going to be looking for options. And we're in a time now where we are with a company that has a global vision that offers us an opportunity that is globally scalable, which is very important. And if we are going to really make this work, we have to have unified visions, meaning we have to have a vision personally and individually for our lives. That's very important. And how we create that is what we are going to learn. We're not going to get into all the rudiments of that this evening, but we have to have a vision for our lives. That's critical, and we're going to see why. And that vision is going to be most effective when it aligns with the corporate vision. Superpatch has a vision, because of their technology, to build something that is generational that will transform the world, because it's ushering in a new era that is really going to impact the world globally. It's a new approach to health, wellness, and performance. And it will take generations to have that impact, because to have global impact, it will take generations. So by extension, we are building something that is generational for ourselves that will be passed on as well. So we have to begin to crystallize in our minds that our vision that we have for our life is one that must be generational. So what we are building must be sustainable, that is going to provide financial security for us, that we will pass it on, because that generational movement will continue. But it's not enough to look at Super Patch's vision and what they're building, which we are connecting with, and say, well, it's a good vision that we could admire. But we must embody that vision within our own selves. I'm trying to help us to understand how this thing must be structured from the inside out if we are going to make it. When I say make it, I'm talking about, becoming financially secure. And while that might be different for each one of us, I'm talking about 6 and 7 figure earners. I'm talking about us building this over the next 3 to 5 years, which is a short time, by which time everyone on this call should be financially secure in ways that a job or a regular brick and mortar business would not do it for you. I can promise you that. We have not just a technology, but we have a compensation structure that can afford us to do that. What we need to have is the track to run on, a platform and a springboard that will propel us forward. And that's what we're going to start to put together this evening. So take that quote that you see on the screen, that the world is transformed not by visions that we just admire, but by the visions we embody. When we become the change, we ignite the change. So we have to take our position, and this is going to start to come together more and more as we go through. But I want us to first see that we must have unified visions, us individually, collectively, and with the company, and it must all be one. That guarantees everybody is going to succeed. Start with that. The vision for my life will be different from the vision to yours and to the other person. That's fine, and that is how it should be. But inside of that, we must have something common to each one of us that connects us in our visions and connects us to the corporate vision. When that type of unity exists, it is difficult to fail. Hear what I'm telling you? It's difficult to fail. And most companies and most network marketing approaches do not embody this. But we are going to, and we're going to see how it can be done. And we have a structure that supports it. And that's what we're going to be building on. And so when we say unified vision, this is going to be our key to sustainable success. We don't just want to be building a business that's unsustainable. And believe me when I tell you that many people that's building network marketing businesses, even the ones who have gotten to a place where they're seeing a relatively decent income, they are fighting to keep it afloat, because a lot of times we are building on sand. When I say, what do I mean by building on sand? That if the process gets slowed down or should come to a stop for whatever reason, it starts crumbling and falling away. In other words, it's not sustainable. But it is the very structure of the business itself ensures that it's sustainable to the point where it is generational if it's built right with unified visions. So here's a question that I want. This is a question for every one of us. Do you see our team as a community? Do you think of it that way? Do you perceive it that way? Do you have a sense that we are actually a collective together? Do you? Think about that. But we have to have a mindset that embraces that, that perceives that while we are building our businesses individually, we must have a sense of connectivity and commonality about what we are doing, even though we have our individual visions for our lives. There's something that must connect us, a commonality. Real community is defined by common unity. So the question that I have for us again is, what common things unite us? And here are a few of them that we could all relate to. We all face challenges and we yearn for solutions for hope. We could break that down into many things. We all want stability, security for ourselves and for our families. We all long for purpose, to be seen, to be valued and respected. We desire personal growth, to live our best life, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And we desire to belong to something larger than ourselves. Everybody innately understands the value of that. And we believe that through unity, everyone rises higher than trying to do anything alone. These are universal principles that we may not consciously be thinking of it, but when we do, we recognize that these are truths. But these are things that we all have in common. And so while we engage in our own personal growth, development, change to create a better quality of life for ourselves, which is a universal desire for every human being. Everyone wants to live the best quality of life possible to them. And we all have the capacity to be able to live far beyond where we are right now. So as we engage, our vision should encompass that process and that personal journey of growth and transformation so that we can experience these very things that we have in common and bringing them together personally. Please keep your mics muted.
Yeah.
Please keep your mics muted. I can't see who it is that have the mic on, but please keep your mics muted. Hello? Please keep your mics muted.
I believe that Chester has his mic on.
Yeah, Chester.
Please
Thank
keep
you.
your mics muted. Thank you. So, as we look at unified visions as a fundamental key to our success, I want us to think of it this way as it relates to, and this is going to serve us further down the road as well as we journey on, to think about it in terms of how our body is built and functions as a unified whole. So if you were to think of our body and use that analogy that our body is Superpatch Corporate, and it has a vision, and that is the overarching or the corporate vision that we're all going to be tied to. And we are each individual cells that make up this body. Each of us, for this body to be united, just like the human body, think about the human body for a minute. It starts with a single cell that grows exponentially It starts with one cell that becomes two, that becomes four, that becomes eight, and so on. And now it is trillions of cells. And when it's in homeostasis, every cell functions in harmony. When mind and body is in total sync, all the cells function like this one harmonious symphony playing. They are so interconnected, they function like they are one. Even though they have individual functions, they are all connected together by a unifying factor. You can call that the DNA. Every cell has that DNA. Here's what I want us to really zero in on. When these cells are unified and it creates this whole functioning body, it's able to do that because each cell has the whole body embedded in its DNA. And the whole body is embedded in every cell, which is why you can clone somebody from a cell. Because the blueprint for what the whole's supposed to look like, each cell contains that blueprint. We, in a very similar way as an analogy, must contain that blueprint. We must be able to work harmoniously together as one because we have the same blueprint of the whole. We have to know what that whole is, that we all possess, that we are all embodying, that not just unites us collectively as a team and as a community, but unites us in oneness with the corporate vision. And that is, if you that DNA structure, we can call that transformation. Our own personal transformation to have the best life, whatever that may be for us, that process of growth and transformation to be our best. And this becomes clearer as we continue to journey on. The company is looking for transformation on a macro level. We are looking for transformation on a micro level for ourselves personally, but it also becomes the DNA that unites each one of us because it needs to be, because just like the cells in the body can only be as healthy as the body is in balance. If I am striving to be balanced and be my best, and you are, and they are not, and someone is not, and we are not all going to make it because we are going to have imbalance. But when the body is healthy, all the cells flourish because there's a unified balance. That unified balance is you and I striving for our own personal transformation. Each one doing that whatever that may mean to us individually. And why it connects us is because the rudiments, even though we are different, and we may be different cells performing different tasks in the body, what is common to us is that the rudiments and the principles of transformation, growth, and balance are applicable to all, regardless of differences. When we embody this, we are going to see growth, unity, consistency, without the stress and strain and the constant overreaching that is so prevalent in network marketing that causes a lot of people to fall out. Now, this is taking the focus off of the field and bringing the focus closer to home. So this is something that we're going to be unpacking and embracing, and I hope you're following me so far. If you're not, please just bring it up and ask about it. But because we're going to have one blueprint that will unite us as one community with a common individual but collective visions that connects with a corporate vision, the rudiments that makes this happen and unfolds this is what is going to ensure our success and that everyone will succeed. This is what we're going to start to build up. So transformation It is going to require a commitment that is going to be on two sides. It's a two-sided commitment. Our personal well-being and developing our business. This it's not complex. These are just headings under each section that will have multiple subheadings under them, which we will be rolling out over time. But just for us, that we must commit to our personal well-being, which is the first and primary leg we have to stand on, and secondarily, our business. We need to understand this. If our business takes priority over our personal well-being, we are gone out of sync and we are out of balance. The whole system is now going to start to go out of balance because that's the wrong order. The correct order is personal well-being must be emphasized over developing your business. So if we are going about engaging in the rudiments of developing business and neglecting personal well-being, I promise you, you are one that will next year will not be here. You're going to eventually quit because it's going to be an upstream paddle to build your business. It is going to be a frustration to build your business. You're going to be one of the ones that don't want to tell because you can't take rejection. You're going to be one of the ones that the fear of things will overcome you. You'll be one of the ones that never seem to have the time to get things done because life is just not functioning in order enough for you. You're going to see how this thing works. You'll see how it plays out. But the commitment to the transformation, which is going to become one of the commonalities in us, it has two legs, two arms, two sides that it stands on. Personal well-being and the development of our business. And inside of this, it requires a mindset that must shift from a consumer mindset to an investment mindset. And that investment mindset must be integrated and rooted in those same two elements, our well-being and our business. This is a mindset that shift that must take place. And it's part of that transformational unfolding. If we don't shift our mindsets towards an investment culture, and we continue to hold on to a consumer mindset in the culture, it is going to be boulders in the flow that will create resistance. Now, none of this is going to happen instantly. This is all a process. And that's one of the principles that we're going to learn as we begin to unpack it, is that our whole journey towards sustainable success is a process. But the process is going to be one that's going to be enjoyable, rewarding, fulfilling, because we are going to be working together in a way that is so harmonious and unifying, because we are going to be developing it from the right perspective. So this is the investment part of it. So we're thinking about it as this unified body. So the mindsets and the right perspectives of it must fuel the duplication process. We're not going to get into duplication. Is a principle in and of itself. It's a universal principle that runs from the cosmos all throughout nature, right down to the cellular level in our bodies. It's a constant process of duplication. And the question is, what is being constantly duplicated? We want to make sure that what's being duplicated is the right mindset. Everybody has a vision, everybody's committed, everybody is disciplined, everybody's consistent. What is being duplicated? Now, this becomes a free and an easy flow when we start from the foundation and build up collectively and constructively. So what I'm just going to say, and I'm going to stop here with this, and then we're going to get into some dialogue. Just as cells function optimally in a healthy body, our effectiveness depends on our personal well-being. That's why if we neglect personal well-being over focusing on business as primary, we are going to stumble. Because our personal well-being, when that's primary, that is the connectivity that is creating the environment of balance and harmony that unfolds our vision individually, collectively, and keeps us interconnected to the corporate vision. This is and must be the primary leg of our sustainable growth, is personal well-being. Now here's why. I'm gonna unfold it a little bit to help us to understand why. Let me stop sharing. We've heard it said, when you join network marketing, one of the first things they'll say to you is, you need to know what? Your why. How many of you have your why yet? I'll go through and I'll bet most of us don't have a clear, crystallized why. How I know that? Because your why could never be clear and crystallized without vision. That's where it starts. And I can tell you from speaking with people in the team and working with people generally, many people are not even clear how to create a vision that is actually the vision that they truly desire for their life. And I'm not talking about what I hope could be. What do you want, and why does it matter to you? What do you want for your life, for your family, and why does it matter? We're not going to get into the rudiments of creating that vision now, but we will. This is going to be part of how we're going to unroll. But I can tell you that if we lack vision, without that, there's a scripture that says, without vision, the people perish. And that perish there is a Hebrew word meaning lack self-restraint or lack self-discipline. So when we hear things like you need to know your why, you need to have motivation, you need to be motivated, you need to be committed, you need to be consistent, and all of us struggle with it. Is that yes or no? True or true? We struggle to stay consistent, to stay committed, to stay focused, we struggle with it. Why? Because without a clear, crystallized vision, which is filtered through mindsets, we are not going to be able to be motivated. You want to see, the vision is primary. The company has a vision. Jay said he has it set for the next 10 years. We have to have a vision for our lives, let's say for the next 5 years or the next 3 years. But we have to begin to, and will only become clear when we start to what? Write it down. If you don't write it down, I promise you, it's going to fizzle. It's going to evaporate. We have to have a clear vision, so we have to sit down and think about why and what it is and why it matters to our lives. Things that could help me, I don't want to sidetrack into this, but things that helped me in helping to crystallize my vision is I asked myself some, could be, hard questions. One of them for me is, when I am gone, what do I want said about me? What would I like people to say? What was his contribution? Would I even be remembered? And if I'm remembered, what am I going to be remembered for? That really matters to me, to my family. But we got to start, and there's a process of how we unfold vision. But the vision is where we're going, and why it matters. That is our internal compass. Without this, nothing else is going to work. Everything else is going to be a struggle. Listen to what I'm saying. Everything that all of our engagements will feel like a struggle. If we get this one thing right, all of a sudden, discipline don't feel burdensome. Without vision, to be disciplined, to do what you have to do, it feels uncomfortable. People hear that all the time. Discipline, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable, because no, doesn't have to be. Discipline could actually be quite comfortable. In fact, you want to do and you want to engage when we set the foundation right. And so the choices that we need to make day to day, there's nothing that guides our choices better than having a very clear vision for where you're going in your life and why that matters to you and to your family. And just simply start today by just thinking what that could be. Just the process of beginning to think about it starts a process neurologically, and things start coming up. Now, when you just think about it and then go and engage in all things and forget about it, the process stops. But if you're going to sit down and seriously, if it matters enough to you, and you're going to sit down and engage some time and contemplate, what would I want my life to look like in the next 3 to 5 years? Let's say 5 years. Nobody knows the future, but this is what I would like for my life to look like. This is how I want to become. This is what I want to be, what the experience of my life to be like with me and my family, and start to put it down into categories. Because we all want time, we all want freedom, we all want to be financially secure, we want stability, we want security, we want to be able to contribute, we want to make a difference in that. Whatever, start putting it down. But we're not going to go through that process now. But here's what I want this thing, and I'm going to refer to my notes so I don't skip any of the points. People say to me, discipline is tough. I say to people, without vision, discipline feels like it's almost punishment if it is not undergirded by meaning. And what gives that meaning is your vision. Not a frivolous thought, but one that you have crystallized. And when I say crystallize, you have thought about it and you have created such detail about it that it's actually beginning to feel real to you. If you've made that much detail. Now, if we don't have a vision, we are not going to function orderly. I posted something in the chat this week about the need to have order in how we function. If you didn't read it, go back and read it. Without vision, we will not have motivation. Because motivation is the energy that fuels that drive towards the vision. If we don't have the vision, the fuel, which is the drive to that vision, is not going to be there. When that vision, the clearer and clearer it becomes, the fuel begins to increase and you are more motivated. So when we say we need to be motivated, understand that this is how important that vision is. Vision gives motivation, it gives order, it gives purpose, and it gives sustainability to what we're doing. So we must take time to create a vision. So it doesn't start with what is your why. Yes, you need to know your why, but your why is embedded in your vision that you have for your life. So when we say motivation, our motivation could be high today high this morning, low in the, our motivation could wax and wane because of circumstances around us. But what keeps our motivation stable is when we know what, we know why, and we don't even have to know how, believe it or not. When what and why is clear, how will start to happen. And so our vision is what transforms that motivation that we have into discipline. So vision is what is that roadmap. That is where our inspiration is. The motivation or our motive for why we do it, that is what energizes it. And the discipline is what unfolds it and drives it towards that manifestation. Commitment is the glue that holds it all together. Now, we will not be committed to stay the course when challenges come. In fact, when challenges come, without a vision, your vision, which is filtered through our mindset, is going to determine when a challenge comes, is it an obstacle or is it a stepping stone? How you see it, how you interpret it, will be based on the mindset that you filter that through. The thing is, if our mindset is based on limitation and scarcity, we would always see, we would either have a very small vision or we will think our vision, what we really want, is impossible. I'm going to say that again. If our mindsets are shaped by limitations, scarcity thinking, doubts, survival mode, fears, we will not create the vision we truly desire, or we will create a very small vision, or we will create a vision that we really would love to see, but we will think it's not possible because it's being filtered through a scarcity mindset. The reason why this is important, why I said it again, is because you understand why the primary emphasis must be personal well-being and not the business. The business is going to happen automatically when personal well-being is aligned correctly. If we do put the business first, I guarantee you we will forever be fighting to try and make the business work, and we are going to quit eventually, the majority of us. Personal well-being, in cultivating our inner well-being, again, our mindset's right, the vision for our lives, and working through that, and the rudiments of what that means, physically, mentally, and spiritually, is what is going to guarantee our success more than anything else. And so, without vision, everything that we are trying to do is going to keep collapsing, is going to keep stalling, is going to forever feel like you're pushing. When we have vision, we don't need to be motivated. We are inspired. We are pulled into what we want. We don't have to be pushed into what we want. When we truly have a vision that's connected to what this business is about, the potential it has, connected to our community, and extended to cooperate, when it's in that context, nobody has to say, get people to the meeting. Nobody needs to be saying, go out and talk to people about Super Patch. In fact, what we're going to learn along the way is that don't go out and talk about Super Patch. I don't try to sell Super Patch to anybody. I don't try to sell patches, is what I should say. Because that's not what it's about. Super Patch is not about selling patches. Super Patch is about transforming people's lives. We don't talk about the patches, we talk about its benefits. So like a conversation that I had with someone who I see them in the gym all the time, and we just say hi from a distance. We never got into conversation. We got into a conversation and another guy joined in and they said to me, so what do you do? Are you retired? because a lot of people around the community where they're retired people. I said, yes, I was involved in naturopathic medicine for 25 years. I'm now retired from clinical practice, but what I do know is that I help people to optimize their well-being so they can live their best life. And a question came onto his face. You help what? I said, I help people to optimize their well-being so that they can live their best life. How do you do that? I said, well, for everybody is different, but I said to them, nobody can live beyond their state of being. Our state of being determines the quality of our life. And that is, he said, state of being? I said, yes. What makes up us, our physical, mental, and our spiritual well-being, how harmonious that is, or how fractured it is, determines our state of being, which determines the level of the quality of life we can live. He said, so how do you help people with that? I said, well, for everybody, it is different. I said, to bring that together in harmony, we look at what is upfront. I said, for some people, they don't manage stress very well. And they're dealing with stress and anxiety. They don't manage it very well. As a result, it may be affecting their relationships at home, with their spouse, with their children, on the job, impatience and tolerance. And so they don't want to be that way, but they struggle with that. And so it affects their quality of life in that area. And I said, or it might be that some people, they don't focus or concentrate very well, and they're not effective on their jobs. And as a result, it's challenging to be effective in the environment at work. Some people struggle with addictions and they find it difficult to deal with. And I just went through a couple of those things. And I said, once we can look at the things that are upfront, I said, I have a simple technology that helps to bridge where they're dealing with now into their well-being, and so that we can begin that work or bring it into harmony. He said, what kind of technology is that? And I did this. I said, this is what it looks like. He said, what's that? I said, it's just a simple patch. No medicines, no this, and a conversation started. The conversation went in a way that he said, I just happen to have a liberty in my wallet. I always keep a liberty in my wallet just in case something like this happens. All right, told a little bit about it. Now, was it about the patches? It wasn't really about the patches, about enhancing the quality of people's life. When I said, when you put it on, it starts to work immediately. And as people begin to feel physically and mentally better, then that's the bridge that takes us into now harnessing this state of being, a better sense of well-being that helps them to be able to now harness dealing a better quality of life. He said, this is interesting. He said, I know a lot. I know I have some people that could really benefit. And that got into another conversation. But here's my point. I was not about selling patches. I'm not about the patches. I'm not saying here's a patch, or there's this new technology. That there are times when that might come in, but what I'm selling and what we're selling is well-being. What we're selling is the benefits of what it has, a better life in whatever that means. So when we go out and we interface with people, we are not trying to build super patch business, but super patch business will be built just because we are interfacing with people. And why? Because we have a technology that offers benefits that everybody's looking for. But we are not going to just necessarily go about it approach it as you're trying to get them to buy a patch or you get them to sign up. If that is the motive or the motivation, believe me, you'll get resistance. Why? Because you're not authentic. You're thinking about what you can get. You're not thinking about serving the needs of people genuinely, whether they're interested or not, and go your way. And that happens because listen to what I'm going to say. People, they hear what we say, but they sense what we are giving off vibrationally. You could never hold back or hide vibrationally what's floating on our voices by our motives. That can't be hidden. Those people don't even know that they're resisting it because of that, because they don't even know what they're sensing. But when there is a true, genuine speaking to the needs of somebody with completely without regard to whether they're interested or not, buy or not, or if you're just offering a service, you're offering value, you're communicating value to somebody's life. Here's something that can help to change your life. So that's what we're about. We're about, when people say to me, oh, I don't like selling, that's perspective again. That's perspective. We are selling every day of life. When you post something on social media, you're selling. When you try to convince this person to come and go with you down the road, and they say, well, like I bet, mama, come, no, you're selling. When you're trying to persuade somebody, influence somebody, we're always selling. Did you see that movie? I watched a movie last night. You're selling. I had such a great deal that I got in the mall, man. Listen, you should go down there because you're going to see a deal like that again. We are always selling. We're always communicating value to somebody else. But we think that selling, if you get no, that a no equals I'm not good enough, or we take it personal. We don't handle rejection well. Why we don't handle rejection well? Selling is not about that. Selling is just simply communicating value to another. If they say I'm not interested, we should go away feeling as elated as if they said yes. Why? Because we communicated value to them. People say, I don't like selling. What I hear them saying is that I'm afraid of rejection. And you're afraid of rejection because our sense of self and our sense of worth is not where it's fragile. It's not where it should be. Why? Because our personal well-being needs upgraded. Our whole sense of self needs upgraded. I can pull every single principle that they will teach us in network marketing that we're struggling with, and they will come back to one thing. We have to align our personal well-being. That has to be foundational. And inside of that process, all the principles line up. And it becomes a free flow, and it's not even a stress. Better response, better growth, better unity. But this has to become the emphasis. And what we're going to roll out now are the rudiments of how we're going to unfold it. And it starts with that vision that we have. And that vision is filtered through our mindset. So we have to get our mindsets right, because without the vision, everything is going to collapse. And without the mindset that we're filtering it through, if that is based on scarcity and survival mode, and we have to bring it back in and start working on self. Because I heard somebody say, it's not about wishing life was better. It's simply becoming better. When you become better, life becomes better. That's all there is to it. You want life to be better? Just be better. You want your business to be better? Just be better. Whatever that may mean to us. In this team, we are going to talk about, and we're going to go through the process of how we all can become better. That's our commonality. It's called transformation. Personally, we're growing in that. And inside of that, we're engaging the rudiments of how we translate that to other people. We would not help people with the benefits that our super patches can offer people in terms of the value to their lives. We will not communicate that to them clearly, sincerely, and authentically if it's not being embodied in ourselves. So if somebody said to me, oh, this looks like a good business, I think I could do really great with this, but I don't know if I'm really ready to use the patches, then you ain't ready for this business. In fact, if you're not on SmartShape, you're not even qualified to talk to anybody about this business, as far as I'm concerned. You need to experience the value of it and see how that value magnifies when you begin to engage the inner work and start to do other things like upgrade your nutrition, engage exercise, and watch and see that what begins to happen physically is far greater than if you were trying to improve your nutrition without the patches. These patches are so phenomenal that people don't really understand the depth of how these things work. This is literally a transformative business that we have. So much so that when we have this thing right and packaged right and we are all unfolding it in unity, I would show me another networking company that could come alongside Superpatch and offer something greater to the world. And if they could show me that, I'll leave Superpatch and go to that company. But that's what we have here. So how clearly we see our vision has to do with our mindsets. And it's all going to work itself back to our state of being, what our state of being is rooted in, which is going to shape our mindsets, which is going to determine whether our vision is going to be big, small, indifferent, whether it is clear, whether it is doubtful. So you understand where it all starts, but out of vision, from vision is going to come everything else. Not just where I'm going, but why it matters. And all that it needs to fuel that process is all built inside of there. So we're going to be working on that, but the journey is so enjoyable because when we start to feel better on the inside, when we start to feel better about self, which is going to naturally happen, right? Because this is actually who we are naturally. When that starts to happen, we start to feel so good about everything else in our lives. Nobody needs to, you don't have to look for somebody who to talk to Super Patrick about. It's going to just happen organically and naturally. And almost in every conversation you have, you didn't even think it's Super Patrick, but the opportunity is just going to come up. And it's not about, the motive must not be, I'm looking for an opportunity to sell a patch, to make a profit, to find somebody to sign up, to grow my team. That is old school. That's not going to work. That's not sustainable. When somebody joins your business with you and they join it from this organic way, you have taught them from the very beginning how this thing works. So we're going to be unfolding some of these principles along the way. And so as we work towards this, creating our vision with a resilient mindset, vision with a resilient mindset equals a conviction of your heart. When you have conviction about what it is that we have, when we have and all the pieces that will link it together to give us the understanding of what we have, which is why I showed that short video in the beginning, because people, as I speak with some of the team members, some of us have that unconscious inferiority thing about there's something wrong with. Somebody said, wait, this is one of these networking things? Absolutely. Best business in the world. Absolute best business in the world. Best business model. And I like what heard someone, Patrick Ben David, a billionaire who endorses network marketing. He said on one of his videos, if you call network marketing a pyramid scheme, you are someone who is stupid and uninformed. You're so uninformed that you're stupid. You don't know what you're saying. Network marketing, we are so positioned in the right time and the right place with such a good company. The company is young, so there's going to be growth and unfolding that the company itself is going through right now. But what we have is incredible with SuperPatch, with the technology that it has. So for us, I'm going to just give us everyone an opportunity for us to dialogue, for us to ask questions, for us to let me see where you are. What do you think? What are your comments? You can unmute and let's do that. One of the things I wanted to communicate to us most of all was that to begin to think of ourselves. Please don't put this down. If you put this down, it's going to just fizzle away. Things only become, if you're hearing something that's new, and this is for anything in our lives, from the time we hear something different, our brain immediately starts to literally create new synaptic connections. As we ponder on it, go over it, muse over it, get into it, drill down into it, more and more connections are forged until the more the connections hardwire, it becomes a memory. But if you start to think about it and the connections start forging and then you put it aside and don't come back to it for a time, they start to prune apart. And so 2 weeks down the road, Harold says, Gemma, remember when David was talking? I remember he says, you forgot it because it never did cement. So we have to turn this over. This is what I'm saying. I'm thinking twice a month. We need to get it to start rolling this out. Personally, I feel like it's, once a week, every Friday until we get grounded. That's how I feel personally. But I also understand that we must have balance in our lives. We all have our families, we have our jobs. So and then there are other engagements with the business, other trainings, and so I don't want to be imposing on people's lives. So twice a month, but we certainly cannot space it too far because it has to have a certain flow to it. And inside of that flow, we're going to have, it's going to include, just so that you know, as we begin to unfold it, it is going to be practical engagement where we're all going to be participating. Not just writing stuff down, but you'll be asked questions and we have to respond to each other. We're going to build this thing out and build it out correctly. We have to have that level of accountability. And if we're going to do it right, we're going to do it right. So we want to have any type of competition. I see there's some, let me see what's inside the chat here. Would love to have the link. I'm not sure what link. This is Nigar.
Sorry, the Anthony Robbins video, that was amazing too. So,
okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Organic to grow. I've said that's how I want to grow, but very much appreciate your roadmap and how to do that. You'll get your roadmap, Laurie. You'll get your roadmap. We'll all have your roadmap.
Thank you very much.
And it's out. Let me tell you, it's wonderful. It'll make building the business more rewarding when we do it that way. And we're going to learn the skills along the way of working together. We're going to learn the rudiments of the whole duplication process and how that works. There's more to the mindset of the business, thinking about it as a business and how you should build your business. We're going to be looking at financial literacy and education and how to be able to plan and set your goals for your business financially. And there are ways to do that. I can tell you, if you don't break it down and plan it properly, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So if I said to someone, if someone came to me and said, well, my goal is in the next 5 years, I would have want to become financially free to the point where I am completely out of debt. I no longer have a mortgage. I owe no payments on anything. If any emergency pop up in my life, I could surely handle it. I could afford to take myself and a family on a holiday anytime that I want. I could quit my job and walk away from it because I earn 10 times more than I earn my salary. So I've given up my job because I'm earning now 5-6 figures every month. I want to be at that place. I would say, is that possible? Absolutely, it's possible. No, let's work it back. Tell me the figures. What figure are you doing a month? Well, it would have to be, let's say, $30,000 a month, $50,000, 50,000 US dollars a month. I want to be earning in the next 5 years, a minimum. Okay, let's see what it's going to take. Let's break it down to what it's going to take over the next 5 years and see what you got to start doing now. That 5 years, you can be there or beyond. That's how we have to plan it. And here's the great thing. If you're trying to do this in a business where you got to look at all the moving parts that Anthony Robbins was talking about, he didn't get it done. But because it's being leveraged through unity, through collaboration, this way, when we understand the smart ship, which is part of our DNA strand that connects this business together, just that alone Everybody on Smartship alone, everybody making money. And as it grows organically, everybody's going to continue to increase their income. But here's the wonderful thing. When we start to grow into this, you can't wait to share this with people. You want people to know about this. And if they say no, you feel sorry that they missed the boat, that they just didn't see it. So you don't feel bad or feel rejected. You just say, I need to get better at how I communicate it. Because I probably wasn't clear enough. Because if it was clear enough, you understand, we're speaking to the needs of people. We are looking to serve people. We're looking to communicate value to people's life. Why? The number one universal thing that the world wants is a better quality of life. It's different to everybody, but what we have can give them that. Not just looking at it as relieving symptoms. That's a bridge into a bigger picture. And Superpath really offers a bigger picture. And as the company grows and as we grow, we'll see that picture is going to actually take shape more and more. But we're in a good place. So someone asked me recently, they commented, was it not a question, they commented about the difference with the presentations I'm doing. So, and they're on here now. So you understand now why my presentations tend to be a little bit on the different side, because well-being, when that is emphasized over commerce, the commerce flows better. The other way around, there are boulders in the way of the flow, and there's resistance to how it happens. And so we get not to see. So here's what I'm going to do, and let me just close with this. Our overall picture of success and how our own personal visions interconnect because of commonality and into the larger vision of the company. What that picture looks like, what Laurie might refer to as a roadmap. Think of it as a 10,000 piece or a 1,000 piece jigsaw puzzle with all the pieces just lying on the table or lying on the floor. And the pieces are just scattered there on the floor. But no one has seen the box cover to know what it's actually supposed to create. That's how we build network marketing businesses. We say, you know your why, you need to be motivated, but it doesn't start with that. Those are natural flows when we start from the foundation and build up. So what I'm attempting to do is give us the box cover to see this is what it is. And these are the instructions that actually unfolds it. We start with the edges and we build in, and this is how it works. And from there, we can all succeed. Personally, my goal, my desire is that I would like to see everyone in my team talking about how the quality of life is changing personally, financially, materially, and every other way, as opposed to I'm trying, and and I'm hearing. We want to hear less of the struggles and more of the triumphs, and we can once we do it the right way. All right, so let's deal any questions, any comments, and then we can go from there.
Doc, would you say in pursuing that vision, should we look short term, medium term, long term? We tend to do that. I mean, I tend to do that in the past. But I mean, this meeting here generally is will affect our well-being in terms of the entire life. But looking at Superpath's business, do you think that we should look short term, medium term, long term in setting your visions?
Well, setting your vision, there are two sides of it. The vision for your life, which is connected to one side of the one leg, which has to do with your personal well-being, setting the vision for your life is not Superpath. Super Patch is the vehicle to get you there. But when it comes to the Super Patch, the business side of it, the business development, inside of that, you're going to set goals to move it along, to expand it, goals of expansion in your business that facilitates getting you to where you want to go in your life. Super Patch is not the vision for your life. Super Patch is the vehicle that's going to get you there. It's going to help to get you there. That's two different things. So inside of the vision for your business, you're going to have a vision for, you may have vision goals for your rank advancements, for volumes, for things like that. On how you're going to scale your business, how you're going to expand it. You may have goals and a vision for what you see there. That is not the same as the vision for your life, which this vehicle called Super Patch is going to help you to attain. It gives you the environment and the framework within the structure for personal development, and it gives you the finances that you need. It gives you that socio-economic environment to create, to help to unfold this vision that you have for your life. Super Patch is not your life. Super Patch is a vehicle. I don't know if that answers your question, Vernon. So you got to know what you want for you and your family and the quality of your life as in terms of the experience of living in the next, if you want to say the next 3 years, which is short, in between 3 to 5 years maybe, because one of the things that we will learn as we unfold is that when you, in your Super Patch business, it takes you the first year before you feel settled even into the business. Before you even feel settled into it. So there is no goal in the first year I want to make 10. That's not going to happen. The first year is that you can just be settling in. You can be saying, you know what? I think I got a good handle on this thing now. I think I feel ready now. That's your first year. So 3 to 5 years, but 3 to 5 years down the road, you could be earning some really good income in this. And see, what we're talking about is relative to building the teams. We're not even talking about tapping into digital resources to build this and scale it globally. That is a potential that most of us are not even tapping. If you were to get 2 customers, if you use digital tools and got 2 customers a month, and got 24, 25 customers in a year who are purchasing from you, that alone could replace people's salaries. And that is small. I know people in Super Patch who've developed as much as 1,000 customers in their first year online. This is online, just using social media platforms, making more money just by doing that than they're making in their jobs and their businesses. We don't even tap that. That's another resource. We're just talking about building the teams. So the potential in terms of earning for this is huge. But again, we begin to, when we get clarity in our vision, what happens organically and automatically is the creativity. You'll only know this when we start to do it. This can't be taught. It has to be experienced. When we start cultivating our inner well-being, we just start to become more creative. I didn't think about that. I didn't see that before. I didn't. That's because there's a clarity of flow that was being hindered because of we were operating in a survival mode. Let me tell you, this is going to another, this is all connected, but a different section. If someone were to say to me, is there one thing that we can do or have or possess that will guarantee that if you're sick, we're going to recover? It's going to guarantee a more balanced or an optimally balanced nervous system, a greatest functioning immune system, a more balanced hormonal system. The regenerative healing of the body becomes optimal. Our sense of well-being is unshakable. That is there one thing that will guarantee that physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, and every dimension of our lives will up. There's one thing that'll do it. One single thing. And that's inner peace. Scripture says, a peace that transcends understanding, that guards your heart and mind. This is an inner peace that, regardless of circumstances, this peace overflows into a joy that circumstances just don't move you from this place. Nothing is impossible in your life. Every life is just absolutely wonderful. When we start cultivating that, what flows from that is a creativity, a sense of well-being. Things begin to energy. You want energy? You want vitality? Let it flow from inside out. There's no more vitality. Do you know how Boost works? Boost don't stimulate energy. Boost taps in to that resource that's there. We have a reservoir that is depthless of resources to ensure and guarantee that we live the best life possible. We just don't tap it because we don't even know it's there. And the one qualifying, the crown jewel that guarantees that is that peace that transcends human understanding. You can't understand why I feel so at peace. And there's a joy that I can't even express. And my house just burned down. I can't understand why I feel this way. That's where you tap deep into those resources. That's where you start to create your reality. That is where whatsoever things you desire. That is when you ask and you will receive. That is when you abide in me and I in you. You ask, it shall be done. Our personal well-being is what guarantees our success. Superpatch is a wonderful business, a great technology. It is the vehicle that will take us to what we want for our life. Superpatch cannot become the vision for our life. We have to have that vision for our life, regardless of Superpatch. Superpatch is just a good vehicle to support and taking us there. Now we're going to learn how to put them together in a different way from the tradition, but I'm telling you, it's going to work better for everybody. And you know what means more than getting your commission check? Seeing your team getting their commission checks. There's nothing that means more. That feels good. That feels better than getting your check. At least to me. When somebody calls me and says, I just got an email that my card is ready. How to activate my card? I just feel so glad that you get your card. Now you can start to get some money. I want everybody to be getting that card. I want everybody to be. And you work for your people. This thing about my success is dependent on the success of other people. Your success depends on, absolutely, that's what it is. But the principle will never change is that you have to love your neighbors, you love yourself. You don't love yourself, all you can do is pretend that you love your neighbor. You might go through the emotions, but I'll tell you, the vibration is always going to be picked up. You can't, vibration always travels with truth. You can't separate, you can't hide it. The vibration is always authentic. We don't even know we're giving it off, and they don't even know they're sensing it. They just don't feel right about something. That's all. So when it flows from alignment, guys, I'm telling you, we have the timing, the position, the company, the technology. We're in a very good place. I'm going to say this, I am not going to waste my time, I've said it before, building something that's going to be built on sand and be struggling and to work with people who don't want to engage it right, who want the quick fix. The quick fix is not sustainable. The quick fix will give you some money now and you may pay a bill now, and then what? That's why we need an investment mindset. Without an investment mindset, By the time you get to team leader, if you don't see $500, you say, listen, this is a waste of my time. But tell me,
David, if
tell me,
oh,
tell me how much money you want to make in a month. And I'll tell you what level you need to get to. And I'll tell you what it's going to take to get there. And then I'm going to say, now, are you willing to do the work? And you will say, well, what is it going to take? It's going to take X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C. Are you ready for that? Well, stop, back up, create a vision. That's where you got to start. Got to start right there. Because that's what's going to be your roadmap. That is what's going to tell you where you're going and why it matters to you to get there. Inside of that are all the little signposts, is the fuel and everything you will need to propel you there. And what you have within this structure is that you have guidance, you have support, unlike a regular business. Network marketing is the best business model that they have in the world. We just got to do it right. And you know what makes it the best business model to me? Because it accommodates this. In a regular business, it does not accommodate this. In a regular business, you got to look to swindle, dodge, hide. You got to look to get over people. You got to look to cheat and squeeze. And that's the business world out there. There's everything good about this. Everything good.
David, if I may just say, your presentation tonight has been absolutely brilliant, phenomenal. This business is built on leadership, and you have stepped up to the plate in such a big way. Always, it's so evident that you have spent your life examining, studying, principles that do help people improve their quality of life. And just thank you so much for doing this for all of us. And I just want to applaud everyone on the presentation tonight, all the participants, that you felt compelled to learn more, to want more, and to be open to these amazing principles. I think I'm very excited for the future. I'm very excited about this new paradigm shift that you have presented. And I'm telling you, I'm chomping at the bit. I don't know if I can wait 2 weeks to hear the next part. I'd really like you to consider doing it next Friday so we can get going.
Well, let's put it to a vote. Let's put it to a vote. Let me hear from everyone else. Thank you for that, Alina. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. I think Colin said something about his suggestion is to do the training at the beginning of the month so we can apply it for the last 2 weeks of the month.
Okay, so iPhone said next Friday. I think iPhone is that Nagar? I'm not sure. Laurie said next Friday.
Yes, that's me.
Oh, okay.
We want to get going.
You see, this evening really was just kind of laying out that framework, that perspective on things. And as we go through everything, it will constantly be an upgrading of perspective and mindsets of how we look at things, how we see it, how we deal with it. And we are in such a wonderful business, folks, such a wonderful, it really is a business, and it really is your business. I understand that when I say that, not everybody gets that. Somebody said to me, how could it be your business? Because if you step out of line, Super Patch could get rid of you. If it was your business, they couldn't do that. Well, that could be equivalent to if you had your own business and the government shut you down because you didn't pay your taxes. It's your business, but the government can still come down on you. So we're operating with compliance within a framework.
In fact, David, even with your own business, if you just do it anyhow, your business will shut you down.
That's true too. So, does anyone have anything that's you want to voice, you want to bring to the forefront? Anything regarding that you want to discuss now? Or I think, Lena, you guys lost the vote in terms of next Friday.
What do you mean we lost? We won.
How did you win? I only see about four.
We won, David. We won.
There's like
No,
10 people.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Friday
10,
is fine.
11.
No, that's 11 out of 33 or 36. So you have a ways to go.
More people coming in.
Double our 11 votes.
Listen, please, guys, when we get together, when we go through the sessions to come, a lot of it'll be like workshop style in that you have to come prepared to take it up, but you have to come prepared to participate. We're doing this together as a team. I'm expecting to learn from you as much as you may learn from me. And what I'm sharing with you is not just things that I am continuing to learn and trying to employ in my life as well, but it comes from my own journey of life. My wife can tell you, I don't know, I don't worry about life. I don't worry about life, period. I don't worry about tomorrow. Do I have goals that whatever I set my mind to achieve, whatever I've set my mind to achieve thus far in my life, I get it sooner or later. But it's not because of me. It's because of principle. That's why I'm so strong on it. If somebody were to do something ill to me, I walk away without even a judgment or a care. And sometimes it's been said to me, like, how you could be so indifferent. How you let him get away with that? Who got away? Listen, there's a principle that says if you sow, you'll reap. And it never fails. I promise you that whatever you sow, you will reap in due time. I need not worry about it. I need not ever try to get even. I have seen the principles of life play out in ways that I can tell you everybody can be successful. Why? The structure accommodates it. And it's not about superbad, it's about you and I within this model. We make this model. We make this model work. And whether it works good, bad, or indifferent, or superb is completely us. It just so happens that this model works like the human body, which is a wonderful thing. And the more we could be united, the better the model is going to work. And if we could be a healthy body, every cell flourishes. And of course, in the real world, not 100%. I mean, I don't think it'll ever be 100%. But if you could get 2/3, it would even be a great goal if you could look into your teams and see that 70% of your team is even on SmartShip. You think this company has a SmartShip problem? It doesn't. It has a belief problem. It has a lack of understanding problem regarding the technology. I stand to be corrected, but I have found in my observation that it's a wonderful technology that's being presented in a way that is framed within the context of the old model of thinking about solutions. We are presenting a solution that is completely outside of the paradigm in a way that it's fitting into the paradigm, the old paradigm. So it's still being perceived as an option among what's out there. When the truth is, it is not like any of the options that's out there. Nothing like any of the options. It works nothing like them. Is it better than them? No. It's just different than all of them. In fact, some of the things from the old paradigm can enhance super patch. Just like super patch can enhance all of them. So don't be fooled when it is said neurology is the top of the health and wellness paradigm. And once you get neurology right, it goes all the way through. That it doesn't mean you need to have biochemistry. Neurology is nothing without biochemistry. Just as biochemistry is nothing without neurology. Why? It's one body. How this network works, according to what is exactly the same way. So to think that if I use in super patch, I don't need to pay attention to nutrition, you have just short-circuited super patch. You've just cut down their effectiveness. You've just hindered and put boulders in the way of the very flow of synchrony. But do you need? So one person said to me, who got the flu, how I got the flu? I had on 6 patches. This defend don't work. I said, well, if you didn't have on the 6 patches, maybe you'd have been further, maybe you might be in bed. I thought with all these patches I shouldn't get. Really? What else are you doing? What else are you not doing? What do you feed your body? Do you even exercise? Well, that person don't exercise. What I'm saying is that the body is a whole. And the more we put the pieces together, because super patch is at the core, boom, everything explodes and works better. Take super patch out and start to improve your physical well-being in the traditional way. Start to get good rest, start to hydrate your body, look at your nutrition, get your exercise, start to put together all the physical components to improve your health well-being. You cleanse your body, you do all this, and you start to feel better. You even start to think clearer. Everything's set. Now add super patch to that. You would say, I was feeling good. I had no idea I could feel this good.
They would like to make a suggestion before you go ahead.
Yeah.
And that is, just as we are saying, we look at super patch as this thing that is in train with what we know in terms of medicine and well-being.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I have done, and I'm suggesting that people should do, is to ask yourself, when you're looking at your why would you wear a patch, a super patch? Because we seem to separate the patch. We are looking to see who needs the patch, but we haven't identified why we are wearing the patch and why we should wear the patch and why and how why would we wear a patch or patches every single day for the next 5 years? I think those are questions, those are whys that people have to really work with. Because as you say, unless you don't start at home, you're not going to be able to present it properly out there. So, people are saying, I have patches I have to introduce people to the patches. But a number of people are not using the patches. And it's because they don't have a why they're using the patches. So similarly, you need to have that why where the patches are concerned, or else the vibe is going to be, people are going to feel that you're just trying to sell the show.
And that is inescapable because that's law, you see. And that's a good suggestion also, Harold. Thank you for that. And so if we're trying to sell, if anyone is trying to offer the patches to other people, but they don't have the experience of using them themselves or have not been using it, but it speaks to motive, your motive. And your motive is to make money. Is there anything wrong with wanting to make money? No, there's nothing wrong with that. Because the person can reason and say, well, I got some bills that are due and I need some money. I need money like now. So I need money. Nothing wrong with that. So you sell your patches, you get some money, you may pay the bill, fine. But that cannot become your MO for continuing to bill. So there's room for everything, and it's not about building this, we're talking about building sustainable businesses. Sustainable businesses. The very nature, and we'll see this clearer as we go along, the very nature of this business is just like the body when done right, whereby as long as our well-being is being nourished, whatever that may mean, this business does one thing. It grows. It grows. And it grows almost without effort. It grows organically. There is nobody here who can experience something great, something beneficial, something meaningful, something life-changing, and not want to share it. That's natural to us. We will. That's why it has to start. Personal well-being has to be the primary leg that from it flows out from there. When that is done right, we're going to see that being consistent, I don't even have to think about consistency anymore. It's just not even a thought. Motivated, I don't need a pep talk. In fact, my ears are so tuned that when I'm having a conversation, I all of a sudden, I didn't realize that everybody seemed to got issues. And I'm not going to talk about a patch. We just train ourselves this way. I'm still practicing myself this way. When I hear the need, I'm not looking for the need to pounce on the need. I just happen to know we just have something that can help to change lives. And I'm not looking for help somebody get rid of a symptom. Because that's not transformative. That's relief. So that's when people say to me, so what do you do? I help people optimize their well-being so that they can live their best life. Everybody want to hear about, what is that about? Well, I have one simple approach, and it's in my presentations now. No, but we all have the potential to live an optimal life. But that is dependent on our state of being. Our state of being, yes. How our physical, mental, and emotional, and our spiritual well-being, how harmonious or how disharmonious it is, that determines our state. And that state determines the quality of our life. Well, that sounds like a whole lot to try. Well, different for everybody, but you know how it manifests? It manifests when people struggling with stress, it's struggling with that. And if we can, and that's once we begin to start to work with these things that are up front, that now gives us a bridge to align in it. How? Well, I use a very simple technology that helps to bring the mind and the body back to their natural alignment. And that helps people to feel physically and mentally better. They function better. And that's the bridge that now helps us to start the process of alignment. What's this technology? That's this technology. What is it? And when they start to hear no drugs, no medicines, no ingredients, it's called vibro-tactile technology. It's changing and balancing, renewing the mind-body connection through just power of touch. With the guy that asked, I said, rub your hand on there. I said, you feel that? I said, those are just ridges. It's just a pattern. When that pattern touches the skin, it rebalances and brings the brain to an orderly function, which then start. And there are different ways you can say it, but I'm not, and it's all about you becoming better, life becoming better, a better quality of life, optimal well-being. It's about having the life you want. The patch is a bridge into that. Some people have said to me, but this everybody needs this. I said, you're absolutely right. Everybody needs it. Everybody needs this. No drugs, no drugs. Nothing at all, nothing at all. Some people, they can't wrap their mind around it at first. How is that possible? And that's where you could do what Jay did. Stick your hand in your pocket, pull out your key and say, close your eyes, put it in your hand. What do you have in your hand? There's a key. How do you know it's a key? Well, I know what a key feels like. Well, you only know that because the receptors in your skin send a signal to your brain. That's how you know. Patches work the same way. Folks, we have gone way past our time. I really thank you for staying on and enduring the journey. It wasn't intended to go on this long. But
excuse me here, Dr. Homer. Okay, go ahead.
yes.
Did I interrupt someone?
Yes, you did, but you go ahead. I can ask my question afterwards.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay, this is Arlene Graham. I think I moved away and I missed when you had asked the question about preference for the next meetings. Are they going to be recorded?
Yes.
The reason I'm asking is because in my group, there are quite a few Adventists. And I noticed, they haven't informed me, but I noticed that they don't attend Friday sessions. So I was just wondering if it's going to be recorded, I guess that's fine, but I don't see them on Friday
Well, after
sessions.
6 o'clock on a Friday,
Mm-hmm.
they're less likely to be engaged after 6
Yeah.
o'clock.
Okay.
Until 6 o'clock on their
The
Sabbath.
following day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if it's going to be recorded, that's fine. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we're gonna try to keep them streamlined and not this long, but I knew that I was quite willing to be flexible and open today because today is like just setting the framework for things. What I also intend to do is that, and this is why I'm saying, please, I'm gonna commit myself to working with everybody in the team so that everybody can build, and with the expectation that everybody will take the time to really engage. Because I'm going to prepare information. Whatever it is we're going to be talking about in a particular session, I am going to prepare it. This don't mean you don't take your notes. When you personally write something down, it's different than if somebody just hand you a note. There's a connection neurologically when you write it. Just like if you hear somebody say something, it's different when your voice says it to yourself. Neurologically, there's a different connection. So
that's true.
always take your notes, but I want to give handouts that will which will be like, points or whatever we might have covered in there, so you could just have a reference of what might have been discussed. And the reason why I'm doing that is that as your teams grow, you may want to be sharing things with your team. They become like a little resource that we can compile over time, and you can share, you can learn from them. Because again, the more we go over, the more our brain wire state then eventually becomes like second nature. And this is just a resource that could become useful to the new people that come into your team and that type of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. David, the question I wanted to ask is for the next session, should we prepare what we think our vision is, or are we going to do that in the session?
No, you should be working on that now.
Okay.
And understand those points will come up when we begin, but you're not going to just create a vision and say, "Oh, I know what it is." That's going to change.
Of course, yes.
Starts out, but the consistency of it, it starts out with, when it comes to your vision, is that we all have a desire for life to be better. When we start to think about what does that mean and what does that look like, it evolves. It evolves, but you can't keep it in your head. You have to keep writing it, track it. And eventually it's going to come to a point where it's going to start, just because you're turning it over, it's going to start crystallizing. Eventually you'll get to a point where it is so alive inside of you, it is going to augment your activity. It is going to adjust your thinking, is going to adjust your choices, you'll go to do something habitually and find yourself stopping and saying, no. It's going to start adjusting behaviors. So, because mindsets are adjusted. But that's how we have to stay with it. And how it happens is that it must happen in community. If any of us were trying to go through this process in isolation, it's difficult. When we do this together as a team, and when you call one of your members of your team, Arlene or Wendy or anyone else, you call a member of your team and say, how is that, how are you getting through with dealing with that? Or you mentioned to me the other day, you're dealing with this aspect of it. How did that work out for you? Like, in other words, you make it part of the conversation with your team. When you get together, your team, forget about the cricket, forget about the baseball, talk about it. So that has its place, but it becomes alive because we are building common unity in terms of well-being. How is the process working out for you? Well, I was planning to do this, but I ain't get around to that yet or whatnot. To check back in with them. No judgments, encouragements. Everybody's on their journey. But when it's done in community, is how it happens. The roots get set, as opposed to trying to do it in isolation and in secrecy and whatnot. When we do it together this way, it becomes real. It becomes alive. And the fruits of this is going to start to show a year and 2 years down the road. It's not going to happen right away. Seeds are being planted now. We're going to start to grow, and then it become fruitful. And people are going to enjoy the business. They're going to enjoy doing the business. It's not even going to feel like a business. It's going to feel like a community of people on a common mission, a movement that's tapped into a larger vision of something that generational is going to transform the world. Why? we have embodied it. And we are transforming. Personally, collectively, and it wires into the whole body. See? All right, guys, I thank you so much for taking the time and for staying the course, and things working out the way they did. So God bless all of you, and start thinking about your vision. Do your own thing. Do your own. Google it. Put down things that you want in your heart, things that matter to you. Just simply talk about what matters to you. For me, it matters to me that when I'm gone, what I will be remembered for. Because it matters to me to make a contribution, if that helps. It matters to me, and my wife will tell you, I say it sometimes, is that I spend time every morning in my meditations thinking about the impermanence of life. Why? It helps me. It has helped me to crystallize into my own vision, understanding that life is impermanent, that it is going to come to an end for every single person on the planet, sooner or later. That's one thing we have in common, is that time will come. What it does for me, it helps me to be intentional every day. I'm intentional about my life. what I'm doing in my life. I don't just drift and blow you in. I'm intentional about what I'm doing because there's a vision, there's something. And I was shared with Lena recently. Lena and I were talking about something, and I said to her, Superbatch is really not my priority at all. She said, I said, no, it's not. It is a vehicle, but it's not my priority.
Okay.
I said to my wife that one of the biggest things, if something were to happen, God forbid, and I know I'm on my last breaths, and I did not get to complete my writings, the publishing of my first book, which is happening, the preparation of my second book, because to me, my legacy is going to be these two books that I'm writing. That's going to be part of my legacy. I would hate for the end to, and I did not accomplish that. That to me is more priority than Superbatch. Superbatch is part of the vehicle that's unfolding all of it. So in other areas of my life. So you think about what really matters to you, and life has to become an intentional engagement and a meaningful engagement. And it gets to a point where, I mean, you don't have to try and evoke a sense of gratitude. You just feel gratitude just for life and just for the breath that you take sometimes. I'll tell you. Anyway, guys, all is good. So thank you, guys. Until next time.
You.
So I guess we're on for next Friday.
Yeah.
Same time, and the link
Yeah.
will come out during the course of the week. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.